Starting in the late 1400s, Spain began its rise to become a major world power, a journey that would shape the course of history. When Ferdinand and Isabella married and joined Castile and Aragon, it set the stage for Spain to grow its empire. Their union was not just a marriage, but a strategic alliance that unified Spain. This time, known as the Spanish Golden Age, was full of exploration, conquering new lands and getting rich from the Americas. Spanish explorers ventured into uncharted territories, bringing back immense wealth. Spanish conquistadors, driven by the desire for gold and glory, defeated powerful empires in the New World. Their conquests were brutal but effective. Hernán Cortés conquered the Aztec Empire, a feat that brought vast riches and expanded Spanish influence. And Francisco Pizarro beat the Inca, further solidifying Spain's dominance in the Americas. These wins brought incredible riches, making Spain want to control even more of the world. The wealth from the New World fueled Spain's ambitions. Spain's power went way beyond the Americas, reaching into Asia and Europe. The Spanish Empire was truly global. Across Europe and Asia, Spanish Habsburg kings were very influential. Their rule extended Spain's reach and power. Charles V, King of Spain and Holy Roman Emperor, ruled a huge empire. His reign marked the height of Spanish power. It looked like Spain would always be on top, but problems were starting to happen behind the scenes. Economic issues and military overreach began to take their toll. The things that would eventually cause Spain's downfall were already starting to happen, even when Spain was at its most powerful. The seeds of decline were sown during its golden age. Getting lots of gold and silver from the Americas seemed good at first, but it actually caused economic trouble for Spain. Prices went way up, meaning Spanish money wasn't worth as much, and businesses in Spain suffered. The Spanish kings and queens, who spent lots of money on wars and fancy things, started owing a lot of money. Spain's strict social system made these money problems worse. The nobles didn't have to pay many taxes and had most of the wealth. This meant it was hard for regular people to become rich and stopped Spain from having a strong middle class. Spain's army was spread too thin. From the Netherlands to the Mediterranean Sea, people were always fighting against Spain's control. Having a giant empire across two continents cost a lot of money and used up too many soldiers. These problems, hidden by how powerful Spain seemed, started Spain's slow but certain decline. The 30 Years' War, a complicated religious and political war across Europe, was a big turning point for Spain. This conflict, which lasted from 1618 to 1648, reshaped the political landscape of the continent. It started as a war between Catholics and Protestants in the Holy Roman Empire. But soon other powerful European countries, including Spain, joined the fight. The war quickly escalated beyond religious disputes, becoming a struggle for political dominance. Philip IV, the King of Spain, wanted Catholics to stay in charge of Europe and to keep the Habsburg Empire strong. His ambitions were not just religious, but also aimed at maintaining Spain's influence and power across Europe. Spanish soldiers, led by the talented General Ambrogio Spinola, won some battles at first. These early victories gave Spain hope that they could dominate the conflict and secure their objectives. But the war went on for a long time, costing Spain a lot of money and resources. The prolonged conflict drained the Spanish treasury and stretched their military capabilities to the limit. As the war continued, France, England, and the Dutch Republic fought against Spain. These nations formed strategic alliances to counter Spain's influence and to protect their own interests. These countries, seeing that Spain was getting weaker, helped Spain's enemies and used the war to become more powerful themselves. The balance of power in Europe began to shift as Spain's dominance waned. The 30 Years' War used up Spain's money and soldiers. The continuous battles and the need to support their allies left Spain economically and militarily exhausted. It showed that Spain's army wasn't unbeatable and that other countries were getting stronger. The myth of Spanish invincibility was shattered and new powers emerged on the European stage. The war ended with the Peace of Westphalia in 1648, and it was clear that Spain wasn't as powerful in Europe anymore. The treaty marked the end of Spain's dominance and the beginning of a new era in European politics. The Battle of Rocroi, fought on May 19, 1643, shows how much Spain's military power had weakened. A French army, led by the young Duke of Enghien, crushed a Spanish army, led by the experienced Francisco de Melo. Rocroi ended the idea that the Spanish tercios, groups of soldiers with spears and muskets known for their discipline and skill, couldn't be beaten. The French victory showed that new ways of fighting and new weapons were better. Spain was shocked by the loss at Rocroi. It showed that Spain's military wasn't the best anymore, and that France was the new major power in Europe. The Battle of Rocroi wasn't just a loss in a battle. It made the Spanish monarchy and people lose confidence. Spain's army, once thought to be unbeatable, had been defeated, and this would have a big effect on Spain's empire around the world. Section 5. Internal struggles. Spanish decline from within. While other countries were putting pressure on Spain, there were also problems inside Spain that made it weaker. A series of weak rulers who were often sick and not good leaders couldn't fix the empire's problems. The Spanish government, once very organized, became corrupt and inefficient. It became harder to collect taxes, making Spain's money problems even worse. The Moriscos, people whose families were Muslim but had been forced to become Christian, were forced to leave Spain. This meant Spain lost skilled workers and merchants. Spain's intellectual and cultural life, which had been great during the Golden Age, also got worse. Censorship stopped creativity and new ideas. Spanish universities became less important, and Spain wasn't as advanced in science and intellectual pursuits as other European countries. Section 6. The rise of new powers: England, France, and the Dutch Republic. As Spain became weaker, other countries became more powerful. England, ruled by Queen Elizabeth I, became a major naval power. English privateers like Sir Francis Drake attacked Spanish ships and colonies, making England richer and Spain poorer. France, led by Louis XIV, the Sun King, became the strongest country in Europe. The French army, well-trained and well-equipped, fought against Spain many times. The Dutch Republic, after winning its freedom from Spain, built a powerful trading empire. Dutch traders competed with Spain for trade routes and established trading posts and colonies in Asia and the Americas. These rising powers, with their strong economies, powerful navies, and ambitious rulers, took advantage of Spain's weaknesses. They took parts of Spain's empire, disrupted trade, and eventually replaced Spain as the world's most powerful force. Section 7. The Treaty of Utrecht, formally recognizing a new world order. The War of the Spanish Succession, from 1701 to 1714, was a complicated and multifaceted conflict that erupted when Charles II of Spain died without any children. This war marked the official end of Spain as a global superpower, a position it had held for centuries. The war saw France and Spain pitted against a coalition of several other European powers, including England, Austria, and the Dutch Republic. These alliances shifted the balance of power in Europe. The Treaty of Utrecht, signed in 1713, dramatically redrew the map of Europe. It was a clear indication that Spain was no longer the dominant force it once was. While Spain managed to retain its American colonies, it suffered significant territorial losses in Europe and relinquished its claim to the title of Holy Roman Emperor. England emerged as a major beneficiary of the war, gaining strategic territories such as Gibraltar and Minorca, as well as expanding its holdings in North America. The treaty underscored Great Britain's rise as a major world power, signaling the dawn of a new era in global politics and colonial expansion. The Treaty of Utrecht wasn't merely a peace agreement, it was a powerful symbol of change and transformation in the international order. It marked the end of Spain's ambitions for a vast empire and heralded the rise of new powers that would shape the world for centuries to come. The treaty set the stage for the modern geopolitical landscape. Section 8. Legacies of an Empire: Echoes of Spain's Global Influence. Even though Spain's power decreased, the Spanish Empire changed the world in many ways. Spanish language, culture, and traditions spread through Latin America, shaping the lives of millions of people. The Catholic Church, very important in Spain, converted many native people in the Americas to Christianity. You can see Spain's influence in the beautiful palaces, cathedrals, and universities built during the Golden Age. Spanish literature and art, from the writings of Miguel de Cervantes to the paintings of Diego Velázquez, are still enjoyed by people around the world. Spanish explorers discovering and exploring the Americas changed world history. It started a time of global trade, cultural exchange, and European colonization that changed everything. Even though the Spanish Empire is gone, its impact is still felt today. We can see signs of Spain's influence in the languages we speak, the art we admire, and how connected our world is. Section 9, Conclusion. The enduring significance of the Spanish Empire's fall. The fall of the Spanish Empire teaches us that power doesn't last forever and that history is always changing. It reminds us that even the strongest empires can be weakened by problems inside the empire and pressure from other countries. Spain's decline happened slowly over many centuries and was caused by many different things. Bad economic decisions, spreading the army too thin, problems with the government, and the rise of new powers all caused Spain's downfall. The lessons we learn from the fall of the Spanish Empire are still important today. They show us how important it is to be flexible, to come up with new ideas, and to be ready for change. The empires that last are the ones that learn from the mistakes of others and can handle the challenges of a constantly changing world.